Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of The Insider. I'm delighted to be joined by Cristiano Meda. Cristiano is the CTO of agile Media. Now, before we do a little bit of an introduction into Cristiano, hopefully the people looking at YouTube can see Cristiano's view right now. Where are you, Cristiano?
Actually near to Lake Garda. And I think this is one of the few advantages of this overall situation about the coronavirus. People can work from pretty much everywhere. I don't mean that it was easy because the headquarters of the company is in Milan. So when there was the lockdown, so we were locked down effective in a very small flat in Milan, and that was like very difficult to get pretty much everything. But now the situation, now that they've lifted all the restrictions, I could move to the summer house and get closer to the family because I haven't seen my family for a while during the lockdown.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm just very jealous when I'm looking, the UK actually we've been quite fortunate through lockdown that the weather's actually been quite sunny. But recently it hasn't been so much. And just looking at your background and when I spoke to you the other week, blue skies, did you say to me earlier on it was, 35 odd degrees today?
It's pretty much between 30 and 35, yes.
Beautiful, absolutely fantastic. So would like to start off just giving us the listeners a brief background into who you are and what you're doing?
Well, in terms of background, I got an engineering background, so computer science in particular. So I was based in Italy before, I graduated here, and then at some point I decided to move to London, and it's pretty much where I built up my career there. I was working for one of the major travel companies called the Travel Corporation, up there. So I was talking about 10,000 employees and roughly 30 different brands. And then at some point, when I've done the overall transformation over there, and I'm talking about agile transformation, the CEO of agile Media approached me, actually through an headhunter, obviously. But he approached me and he asked me whether I could take up the challenge of pretty much doing the same for agile Media. So that's pretty much it. So if you want, I can talk a little bit more about agile Media right now.
Yeah, good to get a bit of an overview because you guys, because I know that it's a global business. We've worked for two global businesses now, and I know that we know each other from your time at Travel Corp, and I know that your background, you're an extremely technical guy, but you're a little bit of a unicorn where you're extremely technical, but you've actually had a lot of success in terms of coming into businesses and changing the ways that the business are working in terms of kind of very lean agile approach. And obviously I know that's why you've gone to ADOS in the first place, because I know you like a challenge. Who are ADOS Media?
Well, ADOS Media is a global company, it's a multinational company. And effectively they're powering the creation of all the journals and the newspapers in the world for the major ones, at least. As probably the media suggests, that was the original vertical where the company was born. But roughly 4 or 5 years ago, we extended to other verticals, and especially on the finance and research side. So if you think that there are some analogies between creating a newspaper and creating a research report. So or the rating agency, I cannot name many of them, but they're pretty much popular around the globe. And at some point we also identified that the same use cases were applying to other verticals like the federal market. So and now we've got 4 different verticals. I think the media one is still the predominant one, but the research one, which is a rating agency plus the banks, is fast approaching pretty much the same size in terms of volume of revenue for ADOS Media. So it was born for newspaper, and then we extended to other verticals.
And you guys are based headquartered in Milan, is that correct?
Yes. So the majority of people live in Milan. Yes.
Okay, cool. And how big's the team? How big's the tech team that you look after?
Well, actually, it's slightly smaller compared to the one I had in Travel Corporation. And in Travel Corporation, like in roughly 100 people, but spread across multiple countries.
Yeah.
In here, which is one of the advantages actually, I've got the entire team in Milan, and we're talking about like 60 people pretty much.
Yeah, still a lot of people, and obviously, Milan. I think is the region Bergamo. When COVID struck, it was all the kind of horrible news that we were seeing. That's not too far from you, is it?
No. It's roughly half an hour drive from
Wow.
Milan.
So how?
And we
So
have a few people from there as well.
did you really? Oh, bloody hell!
Yeah. There
How?
was one of my colleague who's from Bergamo, and his wife is also a nurse at the hospital in Bergamo. So
Oh my
it
word!
wasn't that easy for him. Yeah.
Incredible challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah. So in terms of where you guys are at right now, I think that you've had experience of managing technical teams in different continents, and like you said, the benefit is that you guys are kind of more under one roof at the moment. However, obviously, life's very different now. I guess that everyone's working remotely. How are things looking for you guys right now? How's it kind of set up? I'm fascinated to see how other countries. I'm going to guess it's pretty similar to how we're working in London.
Well, probably we need to step back a little bit because effectively, so when I joined the company roughly 18 months ago, we started an overall agile transformation. So I found a situation which is not that that strange in Italian company, where probably the adoption of some of the agile methodology is not that predominant in some of the companies here. So we decided just to transform the entire organization, especially the technology department, also because we had to satisfy. So we are working for like highly regulated environment, as I mentioned earlier, by the financial vertical or even the federal vertical is even more regulated. So we had to do the agile transformation, but not only for embedding all the agile principles that pretty much everyone knows what are the different benefits, but also to have a very standardized SDLC. Then we moved also to the secure SDLC. So we embedded effectively all the different gates in terms of security. So we started effectively, it was a kind of a waterfall situation when we started, and there was just one team that was approaching some of the agile methodology. So we decided, so we could have done it progressively, but I rather prefer big bang approach. So in some cases, it's just better. It causes less pain to the entire team. So what we did was effectively restructure completely all the different roles and responsibility in order not to have gaps or overlaps in terms of responsibilities, like having the right level of delegation, but also responsibility at different levels. As I said, it was kind of a waterfall situation. So we had the QA team that was detached from the development team, and then the PO was detached as well. So we brought everybody together. We started kind of a DevOps initiative. I hire people from London had experience also in the financial sector. So my QA managers from one of our customers actually, and the highly regulated environment. So she embedded the majority of the principles. So it was an overall transformation, and it took pretty much 3 months. We
3
were
months.
assisted by another.
That's pretty impressive. Three months to do all of that.
Yeah, it was very aggressive.
Wow. Yeah, I was about to.
It was very aggressive, but it was passion in the team. So that there was the need, but also the will to change.
100%.
It wasn't that easy. I can tell you right now, but it went well. So after 3 months, we already started seeing the majority of the results in terms of, I wouldn't say productivity, because productivity overall, but it's just a matter of efficiency, right? So the majority of the advantages were around efficiency. Like we reduced the time to market also significantly. I think it was like 54% reduction on time to market. So we were able to release much more faster. In terms of quality, with addition in the team of the new QA manager, she brought a lot of experience about not only like rigorous process for quality assurance, but also the overall automation, which is necessary if you want to speed up the entire process. So it was significant. It was extremely significant, but we got very good results at the beginning.
I think it's there's from my perspective, something that's very important for somebody to come on board. You've obviously hired for a particular reason, and at your level, there's obviously a desire for the change in the business. I think that's a lot of the time, from my experience, it's especially for technical leaders. So this is a podcast for technical leaders, and I think a lot of the time frustrations can come from not being able to implement ideas and not being implemented, because there'll be blockers in different solutions and different scenarios. And especially when you're working in a global media business like yourselves, I think the key thing is that you've come into business and they're really looking to adopt and to change. So I think that's what it was a perfect storm for you. But I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it? Having the buy-in from your peers and from your stakeholders.
Well, that's usually the main challenge. You need to have the right level of support. Well, usually the other challenge you might have doing this kind of transformation is probably like bringing all the people together with you in the journey, right? And it's when effectively communication is key. So communication for me during these transformations is never enough, right? So there was someone saying to me like, hey, plan, implement, and communicate. So communication is key.
So what are the key hires then? Did you, because I guess you got, sometimes in these scenarios, it's very delivery focused, but I guess, but it's, you're working, I guess you've got product teams and technical teams. One thing I'm really interested in at the moment is the kind of alignment between, products and technical teams. Is this something that you kind of manage, and having that communication level between the two? Because I think that's a common area where I guess project delivery can be impacted. Is that something that you manage yourself? Did you bring somebody else in to kind of look after this, or has it even been an issue, the kind of the alignment?
It was a bit complicated because at the beginning there was a distinction between the product office and the technology department. So with the arrival of the PI firm, so they want to create this distinction because there's always like a conflict of interest between product. They want to accelerate the implementation of functionalities, but technology has got the responsibility of making sure that you've got stability, maintainability of the code. So there are different metrics, right? And that's why you got product office is separated from technology. However, when you do this kind of transformation, you cannot just transform the technology team without the product team. And in our case, it's not just a matter of like technology and product, but we've got an operation team and we've got a professional service team. So you need to bring everybody with you in the journey. At the beginning, as I said, there wasn't this distinction, and the previous CTO was managing both product and technology. But recently we hired someone that is heading the product department, and he's got pretty much a similar experience in terms of like agile transformation, like I had in the past. So we are very much aligned in the sense that we need to get both teams working together, at least in terms of methodology.
No, absolutely. No, good stuff. In terms of, I think this is, like I say, it's a really good conversation to have, because I think lots of different companies are going to find themselves in this situation at the moment. What I'm finding is lots of businesses have had to do really quick kind of agile transformations, companies that weren't prepared, and all of a sudden everyone's working remotely and everyone's had to spin up, putting their stuff in the cloud and moving really quickly. You'd like to hope that everyone's done it right in the right way, and I think that over kind of for you to do it with the scale of the business that you're working in over 3 months is like you said, it's aggressive, but it's very successful. Is there any particular kind of key takeaways from when you're looking to really ramp up a big digital transformation project that you can kind of advise other technical leaders if you're looking to do something at scale in a relatively short period of time?
Well, don't be afraid to get support from multiple people, to be honest. Even if they're not in the company, you haven't got the right level of competency, like get someone external. So I did the same for this organization. At some point in the initial phase of the transformation, I couldn't manage everything. So there were too many things to fix, and I had to care about hiring new people, like fixing quality assurance, bringing all the people together, fixing the technology side, roles and responsibility. I couldn't manage we also started introducing the Scrum Master, right? So and I couldn't train the Scrum Master, so I got effectively an external agile coach helping me out during the first 3 months of the transformation, because it's too much for one person, right? So don't be afraid to ask for the right level of support. And I think in my case it's easy because I'm a big believer that agile transformation, but not just for the buzzword of agile transformation, but it's the empowerment of the people that are working like in that structure can lead to better results. It's fine if you got the C-level support. So in my case, it's pretty easy, right? So I was the one pushing for the transformation. But if you're not at that level, but you believe that effectively your team needs that type of transformation, get support from a sponsor at C-level, because when it comes to time, they're going to be the one that's going to help you out.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think kind of buy-in from the team is key, isn't it? I think it's going on a journey, getting buy-in, and not just from stakeholders. Like you're absolutely right, from the whole team to see how it's going to benefit everybody. I don't like to talk negative stories, but if you hadn't managed to complete this over 3, where would you be now? Would this have with everyone, with how the world is right now and how everyone's working?
You know what? So in the middle of this crisis, right? I started thinking about like if we didn't manage to complete the transformation, right before everything happened with the COVID, what would have happened? But effectively, we were probably, because we were very, very well organized just before the COVID situation. So we had already visibility, very high visibility on what was the productivity of each of the team, with the velocity, we had key metrics in place. And we had also all the setup of all the different meetings, stand-up. So there was already like communication layer, management layer in place. I cannot even imagine if this happened like a year ago or even before I joined the company. It would have been much more complicated from my perspective to understand how the team was performing and how was going to be the impact on the overall business. So I'm glad that we did it just before, to be honest. Right? You always need to be prepared for the worst, right?
No, yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you've done a fantastic job. What's next? How for you, for the business? I guess that hopefully things are beginning to kind of settle down now in the UK, and obviously things are slowly returning back to normal. In the recruitment market, I can see things slightly picking up. I think there's a lot of uncertainty still, but it is picking up and it is beginning to move forward. Where do you see things moving forward for ADOS, and I guess maybe even just touching on that, also maybe the Italian market in general?
Well, I can tell you that straight after, so we're still moving in terms of continuous improvement. So, and straight after the agile transformation, we move for what I call the second phase. So extending like the reach of the same principles outside just the technology department. As I said earlier, we got the professional service that are customizing our solution, but we got also partners and customers that can directly customize our solution. So we kicked off a new initiative, which is effectively start building a developers community that goes outside the technology department and start building tools and resources and providing resources that can really help expedite the integration with our service. So we are in the middle of that. We just released some brand new toys, like a brand new UI library for based on React. So you got when you develop some customization, you got a smooth user experience, and you kind of know the difference between what is the baseline product and the customization. We're working on a brand new IDE, extending one of the existing one for web developers, where you got an integrated environment that can control effectively performance, that can run some preliminary tests on the connection and everything that is working effectively with the level integration. So we are building an entire developers ecosystem. So that's one of the technology challenges. In terms of like a business, is more about like, we've also seen that in this period there's been an extreme shift towards cloud, especially newsroom that usually they're very much conservative, right? So they like to be in the office, they like to work like face to face, but they also like to work with probably the desktop client. Comes the necessity of working remotely. Obviously, we had to push like some entire newsrooms in a matter of a week or two, like from working in the office and working remotely using web services. So that's what I see going, like our customer in terms of shift. In terms of the hiring market, Milan is pretty challenging. It's not like London, but it is challenging as well. At the moment, there are a lot of companies that are taking advantage of people of the uncertainty, and they are hiring heavily. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah. So it is interesting, but at the moment we are conservative because we're just looking at what's going to happen, and the situation is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So at the moment we are just standing still and see how it's going to happen in the next couple of months.
Yeah, the way I look at it is that, you know, you guys have got some huge plans, and it sounds as though, you know, first of all, the way that you're kind of set up will mean that you can, I guess, kind of deliver these a lot quicker than you would have done in the past, which is great. But I think that a lot of companies, in general, technology projects don't really get cancelled. You know, there's a lot of investment, time, and planning. What happens is they sometimes go on hold. They sometimes pause a little bit while you kind of understanding where the market is. I think that you're exactly the same. A couple of my customers really took advantage of the market. They carried on hiring when other companies stopped. They got some fantastic talent, and they kept me busy for the initial few months of the pandemic, which is great. And now I see it kind of, you know, everyone's still a little bit kind of static, but things are beginning to move. But yeah, I think, to be honest with you, there's a lot of companies off the top of my head now I'm thinking that I know are Milan based. They've got some great technical talent, so it's obviously quite a hotbed in terms of kind of technical guys in Italy. So listen, Cristiano, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know you're a busy guy. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed the conversation. And it's great from my perspective to speak to a CTO in another country with different challenges, but somebody who, you know, completely understands the UK market as well, like yourself. And it sounds as though you've done some fantastic stuff, and it sounds as though there's you know, some big projects and exciting things happening over the next couple of years. So thank you very much for your time. It's almost lunchtime in Italy, and I don't want to keep an Italian from his food, so I'll let you go. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me here today. Thank you very much.
No problem at all, and I'll speak to you very soon.
Cheers.
Cheers.